All right, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my final review for the first half of The Walking Dead Season 10, because this is for the mid-season finale now, which is Episode 8. It's called The World Before. I want to thank everybody for signing up for the Patreon. A whole bunch of people signed up this week to be walkers, which just means that you pledge $1 a month in the Patreon account. Link will be in the description, and help the channel continue on forward into a unknowable, uncertain future. And spoiler warning, as per usual, if you guys have not seen this episode yet for The Walking Dead Season 10, you're going to want to watch it before you watch this review. So this one being the mid-season finale, it's an extended episode. I don't even know where to start with this episode, man. I was so pleased watching this episode through. This episode had so many different things happen. Absolutely jam-packed with all kinds of incredible... It was a perfect episode. It was a 10 out of 10, easily. I mean, they had so many... There's just so many things that happen in this episode. I don't even know where to start with this review, man. This is one of the most jam-packed episodes of Walking Dead they've ever done, because you have the situation continuing between Dante after Siddiq with Rosita in the intro. You have some incredible stuff for Gabriel. You have kind of the cliffhanger-esque type of, but it's not too bad because it's just a mid-season finale, so we'll see it back soon in probably February or so to find out what happens with the chase scene at the end. I just my you see Alpha and she's running off, and I just hear you guys hear that, it's a trap, right? It's a trap, like, no, it's a trap, it's just in your, it's just like in your mind, man. Like, it's like, no, don't chase after her, it's a trap. And sure enough, it's a trap. And then you have the stuff with Michonne, and oh my god, man, what an amazing episode. Wow. So I guess if we're going to review the whole thing, we should go through it starting from the very beginning. So this episode has one of the best introduction sequences ever, if not the best ever. Definitely could be up there with one of the best intros for The Walking Dead, meaning before the credits, before the intro kind of runs through the scenes just before it to start off the episode. So some of it was released before, which is the parts where Alpha is selecting Dante to be her whisper spy for Alexandria, and it explains basically everything, why she picked Dante. It cleans up the whole thing that people were saying, which is that, well, wouldn't Lydia have known Dante, so wouldn't she have recognized him? And it turns out in this episode here, it explains it all the way perfectly, because Alpha actually selected him because Lydia didn't know him. That's actually one of the reasons why she picked Dante to be one of her, or to be her whisper spy for Alexandria, was purposely because Lydia didn't know him. So I love that part. They released it online, so it's pretty cool. If you guys didn't see it earlier, most of us probably did. But I just thought it was a really cool scene when he kind of agrees to it, and you see him in his whisper stuff, and he's all dirty and everything, and he looks all ugly and stuff like that, and then it just fits perfectly. And so they clean him up and everything. They give him his whisperer gear, which Dante's pretty scary in his whisperer gear, I think. I'm not sure why. He just kind of he's got a good look as a whisperer, I think, when he's wearing his stuff. It could be because of Siddiq's flashback sequences and his PTSD and stuff. But you see him wear it close to Alexandria, and then he takes it off, and he's a pretty good actor too. He brilliantly starts screaming for help as if he's like this victim, and then a lot of the kind of unknown Alexandrians kind of come running in to help him and kill all the walkers. Like, there's even one that he's like wrestling with, and he acts like, oh, I can't push him on me, and then whatever, and then they come in and save him. And then you have the part where Siddiq actually comes up to check him, and he checks his arm, which I just thought, I was like, oh my god, this is so dark, right? Checks his arm, and Dante's kind of looking at him like, this guy recognize, and he doesn't, and he's like, okay, I'm okay, right? It's like, oh my god. And so then we have one of the most terrifying, so after that we have one of the most terrifying sequences ever. Well, I should also add in, he's the one who switched the water off to the undrinkable side to sabotage them. And he did, in fact, kill Cheryl, which I don't even know why he would bother to even do that. But I guess he's so messed up and crazy that I guess he thought maybe it would be I don't know, beneficial to smother her with a pillow or something. I don't know. He's just, he's out of his goddamn mind, so whatever. But it's dark to watch it because it's like this little old lady. She could be like your grandma or something. And you just have them doing this. It's just like, oh my God. Oh, it's just awful, right? So then we get to kind of, we catch up to current, and he kind of comes out of it, right? And you have him still there with Siddiq, which was one of the most brutal scenes in the whole series with the strangulation. And then you have the nightmare scenario play out right afterwards. So you have Siddiq is dead. He's about to turn into a walker. And Rosita shows up to check on Siddiq and see how he's doing. And she has the baby with her. So you have an absolute nightmare scenario. Dante sort of answers and tries to explain it away, and she's like, she's thinking probably like, what the hell are you doing here? Where's Siddiq? What's going on? And he tries to kind of play the homophobe card again, or he tries to kind of be like, oh, we're just whatever. And she's like, she's probably thinking to herself like, what? Like that doesn't make any sense. Or he went off on this call or whatever to check on somebody or whatever, and it's still not working. And then she puts the baby down, notices that he has a knife, and then you get the scene where he attacks her, and it's very scary, right? And then to make matters worse, you have zombie Siddiq who wakes up and starts coming out, but he's not going to go after Dante. He hears the baby crying, and so the zombie Siddiq goes towards the baby to eat the baby. So it's an absolutely horrifying scene. It's like one of the scariest in the whole series, I want to say, just because, I mean, you can't get any more kind of, brutal and innocent at the same time, with the baby being so innocent. And then you have, zombie Siddiq, who's zombified out of his mind, can't think at all to even realize that it's his kid. And, Dante seems to be perfectly happy with the situation of the possibility of Siddiq eating the baby. So luckily, Rosita's tough, and so she's able to get the knife away from him, pick the knife, and stab him with it, which I thought was really good stuff. Really love to see that. Nobody wanted to see the opposite. And then she puts down Siddiq and sort of defeats Dante by herself, and then we're to imagine goes and runs for help, and then he's captured and everything. But it's one of the scariest and the craziest intros ever, man. I mean, what a situation. You have her, she's in danger. You have the baby's in danger. And then you have Siddiq, the father of the baby, who's going to come out, the zombie version, and eat the baby. But it's awesome. I don't know why it's awesome. It's awesome because everything works out. Because no babies were eaten in the filming of this episode, right? So it's okay. So we'll get to some of the other stuff with Dante afterwards. But I love the intro. It's amazing. We go through that. We get the stuff with Gamma, which sets up what we see at the end of the episode. So she tells Aaron about the trade of information and where the herd is, but it looks like Alpha somehow has figured out that they know this or something, or Gamma is still aligned with Alpha or something of the sort. She has to play along, and it sort of is a trap, and the herd has actually been moved, possibly into this cave or whatever. I don't know. We get the sense that there's a whole ton of walkers in this cave section that they somehow get caught in. I don't know how this whole thing works. I guess Carol just can't control herself, and so when she gets an opportunity with Alpha knows it. So she uses herself to lure Carol and the others in, and they all kind of go in and get themselves into like the worst situation ever, surrounded by however many thousands of walkers that is, or at least hundreds, and potentially no way to get out of there. I mean, I'm sure they'll get out in the second half, but it's still an exciting way to end off the episode for sure, no question. So then we go back to after Rosita had previously beaten up Dante pretty good and stabbed him and everything. Daryl is now beating up Dante too, and he says, "I hope that hurts," as he's beating the crap out of him. And all right, let's just skip to like the best part. Well, okay, is it the best part of the episode? There's a lot of good parts of this episode, and we got to talk about Michonne stuff after too. But yeah, it's the best part of the episode. Gabriel, okay, spoiler warning, absolutely smokes Dante. He freaking smokes him. I love this scene, man. He goes crazy. He's just had enough, and it all, fits in perfectly because he's trying to do the right thing, right? Gabriel is a man of God. He's a really good man. He's everybody loves him. He's charismatic and everything. He's getting a lot of work. He's got to do, a Siddiq's funeral here, which is really traumatic and sad for him because he says he loved him like a brother and everything. And, afterwards. And so Gabriel's getting work in the zombie apocalypse. Lots of people are dying. He is, he's, the pastor there or the father. So he's got to, he's got to do all the funerals. He's got to do all that stuff. But this is a personal attack on him because he loves Siddiq. And then also Dante almost killed his family here in this situation, including the baby. And he must have found out about this. Now, to bring it back even further, he was the one who had to take care of Negan during all those years, during the time skip, which was however many years that was, maybe 6 years or something. And then eventually Negan escaped anyway. So he has basically given up on this whole idea of keeping Dante in the cell and doing this and whatever. And it just doesn't seem right considering how bad the things were that Dante did. So he talks himself up to it. He opens the cage. He goes in, and he absolutely smokes him. And I love it. He stabs him like 50 times or something. Just a ridiculous amount as he's screaming and shouting in his face. I absolutely loved it. And then after, when he walks out, you see Rosita kind of look at him, and then you see the fire afterwards. But if you think about what Dante did, he killed Siddiq, who's one of the most important people there, very loved and good doctor and everything. He killed Cheryl. He poisoned everybody with the water, and then he fed, war in terms of being a spy and in terms of the war with the Whispers. He fed information to the Whispers, which also, you can say in terms of war that's very dangerous as well too, and potentially could have cost lives too, and maybe it did. I don't know. So all in all, it's just, the things he's done is just absolutely unbelievable. And so, Gabriel cannot allow it to continue. So he absolutely loses his mind, absolutely destroys him in one of the most savage killings in the whole series, and lets himself absolutely go loose on him. And it was awesome. That's freaking awesome. So I haven't been the biggest Gabriel fan throughout the series a lot of times. There's times when I didn't really like him that much, or I just found him to be dry or whatever, just no big deal. He's doing his thing, he's being the good guy and everything, but it's not always that exciting. However, in this case, that was absolutely awesome, man. I guess I'm going to call it Gabriel Unhinged. Something like this. It was just amazing. And it looks like Rosita afterwards was pleased too, because they were starting to have problems because she was, she was basically, I don't know if they were kind of setting up. There's a part with Eugene when Eugene's kind of going off, and then he kind of helps her and that whole thing. And then it kind of feels like she doesn't really want him to go. Siddiq is dead now, and then Gabriel, we don't know if their relationship's going to be able to continue on, because of everything that's happened to them and everything. But I feel like Gabriel sentencing Dante to death by brutal stabbing was probably good for his relationship with Rosita, right? So it was an incredible sequence, man. It was really dark and scary. It was maybe the best scene Gabriel, I think, has ever had in the entire series. Definitely you can get behind his motivations, you can understand, and you can just see it as like, after going through everything he went through with Negan, cleaning his bedpan every day or whatever stuff he had to do the right thing with Negan, and considering what Dante did was a personal attack on him and his family and everything. You got to understand that people have a breaking point. So we saw Gabriel absolutely reach his breaking point in this episode and do what he did, which is really crazy to me about how good this first half. So now that the first half is over, I am absolutely amazed that I would say the best stuff in the entire first half centered around a new character, Dante, with a twist, Gabriel, Siddiq, Rosita, and them at Alexandria. All of the best stuff in this half, for me anyway, as a viewer, didn't include any of your big names. It didn't include Michonne, didn't include Daryl, didn't include Carol, didn't include Ezekiel or even Alpha. The best stuff in this whole half centered around Gabriel, Siddiq, Dante, and Rosita. Just, amazing stuff. So I think that's how good of a job they did this half. That's not easy to do a storyline like this in a half season with your not your prominent forefront characters. Like, it's pretty easy to do stuff, get this kind of response or reaction out of people when you're using your Daryls and your Carols and your forefront people, your Ricks and Michonnes and that. It's easier to get a response, but it's not that easy to do that with characters that are not at the forefront, like Siddiq and like Gabriel and Rosita. And I just felt like what they did with it this half was the highlight of this season so far for me, and absolutely loved it. And like from your guys' comments that I saw this week, most people were thanking for Dante. That's what they should probably have to do. You don't want another Negan situation, and also that Dante is completely unapologetic for what he did. He's even saying that he likes Siddiq, but that he did it, and that he doesn't really regret it or anything like that, and he just doesn't feel any remorse for what he did whatsoever. It totally fits. So we'll see how the other people of Alexandria respond to that, but I don't think anybody's going to be mad at Gabriel for what he did here, and I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not sure if they're going to tell the others that he did that, that he has blood on his hands. Rosita obviously knows, but it's sort of like, even if he does tell them, I think everybody would be understanding to say that, okay, yeah, Gabriel's reached it. He's reached his breaking point. So I don't think anyone's going to hold it against him or try to say, like, oh, you shouldn't have done that or whatever. Like, I don't think anyone's going to question Gabriel in that case. So I just thought all that stuff was absolutely incredible, amazing, and like I said, the highlight of this whole season so far for me. Surprisingly, just unbelievable job from them. They all did an amazing job. Really, really crazy stuff. Loved it. Okay, so going to the other section here of the episode with some very important stuff as well that we can't leave out. We have to go through and we'll probably come back to, because I feel like I feel like it can't be the last scene that we see Michonne in. Like, I feel like that can't be it, right? Like, that's not this isn't the leaving episode, is it? Because it's sort of like, with everything that happened in the episode, Michonne's leave is not the highlight of this episode for me. Anyway, you guys can leave your comments below on what the highlight of this episode was for you, because there's so much in it that was so exciting, like the intro with Rosita and the baby and everything, and Dante, or Gabriel and Dante and what happened with that, or the cliffhanger part at the end with the cave and Alpha and Carol and Daryl. With all this stuff going on, it's unbelievable to me that if this was Michonne's leaving episode, it wasn't the biggest, the most impactful scene for me, which it's unbelievable. It should be, when Michonne leaves, that should be the most impactful part. So I'm not sure if we're going to see like one more scene with her in the second half, or we're going to hear her on the radio or whatever. I have a lot of questions right now, and I guess that's probably what they want, so that you come back in February, you watch the second half, and I do think we'll see probably at least one more scene with Michonne in the series. Maybe I'm in denial, and you guys can say, no, Trev, this was her leaving episode. That is her leave. She's not coming back for the second half. This is just how it is. So that'll be probably a topic for Q&A this week, and I want to see what you guys think about that one now. Leave your comments below. Do you think we have seen Michonne's leaving scene, and this is basically it, and that was meant to be our last scene where we see Denai Guerrera in the Walking Dead television series? I'm kind of sitting here thinking to myself, like, that can't be it. There's got to be more to it, like at least one more or something. I hope so. So yeah, but so we see. So here's how things play through. So they're going to the ocean side. They go to this library, and you have Luke, who's looking at some music books and stuff, because, well, yeah, he's a musician. He loves that stuff, so understandable for sure. He gets in trouble with a couple of walkers in and around there. He's got one lurker underneath that's kind of sitting there, maybe under the bookshelf, and grabs him. Is quiet at first, and then another one that kind of comes up from behind, and he's sort of fighting with both of them. And Virgil when he starts calling for help, Virgil comes up and kills one of the walkers. So Virgil is a brand new character that's coming in. He was a character in the Walking Dead comic book series, which again we can get into more in kind of Q&As and go into more detail on that. But just because a character is a certain way in the comics, it doesn't mean they'll be that way in the TV series, as we got to see with Dante. Right? Dante in the comics is a hero character, and he's not a whisperer or anything like that. They totally remixed it for the show, and it worked really well. So we have Virgil gets introduced, he leaves his pack, he goes off, and then they head towards the ocean side. So you have all of that happening, and then we kind of come back to it later with a whole bunch of walkers going through the ocean side as a result of what he did. And Judith, he kind of almost escapes, and Judith takes him down by slashing him on his right leg, and then kind of goes up to his face with like the sword that is like as big as she is, and she goes up and type of thing, and calls for Michonne, and then you get the great scene where she says, "Good girl," right? And then afterwards questioning him, and so here's. Okay, so let's go through a rundown. I'm going to watch this back again afterwards because I think it could be that important. But let's go through a rundown of what happens here with Virgil. Okay, so we find out that Virgil is from an island. Does he say Bludgeworth Island? Something like this. And it's apparently a naval base based on what Michonne says. And that means weapons. And according to what Virgil has, the picture that he's painted for her, functioning weapons. Okay, so potential here for Michonne to go there and get some, heavy-duty weaponry that they can use to face the Whisperers, that they might be able to use against Alpha and the Herd. But she goes by herself, which I thought was a bit strange, because I would have thought that the Oceanside at least could have lent her a couple of their girls to go with her. Maybe you don't bring Luke with you because he's kind of, maybe he's a bit of a liability. But you give Michonne maybe a couple of your best women from the Oceanside, and you send them out with her to kind of accompany her, since she's with someone she doesn't know, i.e. Virgil, and we don't know if we can trust him. And so even though he brings up the comment about mercy, and we get a nice kind of Michonne scene where she repeats, "My mercy prevails over my wrath," which I love. It's great. It's like I just hear in my head. You guys remember when Rick gets hit at the beginning of the series, and John Bernthal, Shane, he yells, "Rick, he's hit!" I just hear, in my head, like I hear that voice in my head when I see scenes like that. I just hear the voice from that one of John Bernthal saying "Rick" like that. I don't know why. It just happens to me. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because I've seen the damn thing so many damn times that's whenever I hear Rick in my mind, I hear his voice saying it like that. I don't know why. So that's kind of funny. My mercy prevails over my wrath, and no Negan this episode. That's one thing, right? So, and then we have her getting emotional, and then I guess. So, okay, so how does this work here? And again, I'm going to watch this back through because, this is important stuff here. That Michonne's leaving, and it's not even like probably the best thing about the episode or the highlight of the episode, which isn't a knock on the episode. I'm just saying there's so much stuff happening here that, it's just like one part of the four, things that were huge in this episode. So we have her going with Virgil, so giving it a shot here, showing some mercy, giving it a chance, and going to see if maybe she can get some of these weapons, or it can be good for the group, something that they can use, because they don't have a whole lot of firepower at the ready in terms of guns and ammunition and things like that. So if she could bring back even a whole maybe a pack of guns, or a few packs of guns or something like that, maybe some assault rifles and whatnot, some rifles. I mean, this could be huge for them against the Whisperers, because the Whisperers don't really have much in the way of firepower. They've got like an AK-47. They've got like Alpha carries a sawed-off shotgun. So close range, that's really good. But, to have, if she can bring back some decent weaponry here, then maybe a 50 cal or something, you guys got to see in Season 8 how good something like that could be. Mow them down, something like that. Then it could be cool. But the other question, too, is whether or not she'd be able to transport it and this whole thing, and whether or not Virgil's even telling the truth at all, whether or not we're going to see like one Michonne spotlight episode with Virgil, or if we have literally just seen Michonne's last episode and we just don't see or hear from her again, which is also a possibility, which is kind of unfortunate. I was reading about an interview where I think Angela Kang said that she hopes that they didn't screw up Michonne's leave, and so I hope this isn't the last we see of Michonne. I hope this isn't her leave, but at least if she has the walkie-talkie, like she says to Judith, that Judith can call her every day in the walkie-talkie and that whole thing, so she's still there. So what does that look like? What are they doing? So I'm going to predict here, I guess, in this review, that I don't think we've seen Michonne's last scene. I don't think that's it. And sure, you can say I'm in denial, that Trev, no, that was it. She's leaving. We're not going to see her again. You're in denial. But I just think there's got to be more to it than that, because it was sort of like a subplot of the episode almost, or just part of it. It wasn't even like the final scene where you see her. It was beautiful and everything when they go out on the they set sail and everything, but I just am sitting here thinking to myself that we got to see more to it with Michonne. But leave your comments below and let me know whether or not you guys think that that's it for Michonne. She'll go off here and something will happen and we won't see it and we won't know. And then eventually the radio maybe will go dead, or maybe almost right away it will. Maybe Virgil is not trustworthy, and I don't know. We'll have to, maybe he betrays her or something, or abandons her, or something of the sort. I really have absolutely no idea what to say with that one. I guess all I will say with that is that I hope we didn't just see Michonne's last scene, and I hope we see at least one scene or one episode with her in it in the back half of The Walking Dead Season 10. And fingers crossed. I really hope, man. Because if that really is it, then I will be very disappointed if that's the leave for the great Michonne. It can't be, right? Like, that can't be it. It's got to be more to it than that. So, but it's funny. There was some funny scenes in here for Judith. Yeah, I always like watching Judith. Is fun, too. And Virgil's yelling at her about the book she's reading. And so she says that it clearly belongs to the library. As you guys know, you guys ever rent a book from the library? Okay, I know this is old school. Most of you guys probably don't go to the library, but when you rent library books, I have some I buy some books from Amazon, and some of them are library books. I get them for like $1, $2, and some of them could be really good. And they actually say like library belongs to library, like the library in particular. So I just thought that was a really funny one for Judith. And I mean, even when she slashes them down and everything too, when she just walks up, it's funny. I don't know why. It's just really, really good stuff. So then we go into the scene. We did have the part with some good stuff with Daryl and Carol, as always. Their relationship is great to see, and Daryl kind of knows, and he talks to her in this episode about her being reckless, and that Alpha's kind of gotten into her head, and that she's just going after Alpha with reckless abandon. She almost steps in a bear trap or a trap of some kind, and Daryl kind of stops her. But then afterwards, even when Daryl's talked to her, and she's, it's like, okay, are you good? And then when she goes to walk away, Daryl's looking at her like, no, she's not good. This isn't. And he does refer to her as coming back, like her never coming back. She's like a ghost of her former self after what's happened, and that Alpha's not worth it. And they still have a future together, and she's got to be careful and everything. And of course, she doesn't listen to any of his advice. The second she sees Alpha and she has a chance at it, she just runs after as Alpha knows she will. And the whole thing kind of continues with that into the cave part. So it's definitely an exciting. I thought it was intense when he walks in, like when Daryl walks in with the Bowie knives, and he's kind of looking around and it's really quiet. It's like, where's everybody? Where's everyone? And it's just so quiet, and they kind of go in, and then he falls just like the rest of them do, because you can't see anything, and Carol's run in, so now the rest of them all run in, and now they're all freaking trapped inside of it. So will they be able to kind of prop each other up? Maybe you get Jerry at the bottom, and you get Daryl after that, and then you get the girls going, and then they kind of prop each other up and are able to go up high enough to get over, and then pull the rest up, and maybe get a rope or something and throw it down. I don't know if they have a rope with them, but we'll have to see how the whole thing is gonna work out. But it just feels like Alpha's just playing. She's just messing with them, playing games with them, doing all this crazy stuff, sending in guys like Dante and all this other stuff. It's crazy stuff. But I'll say, man, this was an amazing mid-season finale. A lot of us were expecting that we might see like the old school formula, which is that it follows the comics pretty closely, and then they just remix a couple of the character deaths or whatever in the certain spots. But the way that this mid-season finale went through, it wasn't that simple to where it's just like a remix of something that was in the comic. This is something where they've so expanded and so, I want to say, improved for the TV series version on the storyline of the comics. It's unbelievable to me. It's its own version. It's not even like anything really like the comics, and it really gives me a lot of hope for the future of The Walking Dead, that even when the comics do end, that they'll have enough faith in Angela Kang and the creative team that they have to say, okay, you guys can do this. And when I watched this episode, that's what I thought. I just thought this is so much better than the comic version of this part, and it's so. You're getting these characters over, which just means that you're taking these characters like Gabriel and Rosita and Siddiq that a lot of times people would just look at as like background characters, like, okay, he's your doctor, but whatever, who cares? Or she's whatever, but she's not Rick, she's not Michonne, she's not Carol, she's not Daryl. And you're getting them over to an extent to where it's the best stuff of the whole half, and they actually in this half, for me anyway, outshadow the other more prominent characters that you've established, like Daryl and like Carol and the others. Not to say that there's anything wrong with Carol's parts in the season. It's been great stuff with their rivalry with Alpha and everything, and I'm sure we're going to come back to it. But just that they were able to take Gabriel and Rosita and the others and Siddiq and Dante and do something like this in this half and just get it over to that point to where it just worked like that well. It's just kind of unbelievable. It's just crazy how good this half season really is when you think about when you think about it like that. So if they continue to do that, they can continue to get the next one. I think will probably be Aaron, which you get some parts in this. Which one with Gracie, right? So that's cool. And they're looking at the signs and stuff. But that's what they're going to have to do in the future. They're going to have to keep getting over those other characters to a higher level. You're someone like Aaron's probably never going to be at like a Rick level or something like that, or Gabriel will never be at like a Daryl level maybe, but you're getting them over to such an extent to where it's like, I want to see more from Gabriel now. Like, I'm more interested in seeing his scenes in the second half of the season and season 11 if he's still alive at that point and forward. I'm more like, oh man, I love Gabriel now. You know what I mean? I want to see more from him because he's very relatable and he's not perfect, and so that's something that we all like. Morally, you don't get through this life all the way through without at least doing a few things that you probably shouldn't do, right? So I loved it, man. I won't ramble on too much. We'll do that in the Q&A videos, but I love the episode. The world before was amazing. Like I said, perfect 10 out of 10 for me. And I hope we see more from Michonne. I can't wait to see more from Gabriel. Interested to see more from Rosita and Eugene and just how that whole thing's going to go. And just absolutely blown away by what they did this half season with that Dante Whisperer turn, man. That was just something amazing to see through, I think. And even Alpha's part in it in this episode, and Zombie Siddiq with the baby and everything. Amazing stuff. Let me know what you guys thought. That's my review for the episode, guys. I hope you like this half. We'll have lots more videos coming for the second half. Predictions video next. Q&As for this week. Michonne, we got to talk about Michonne a lot because I got to hear you guys' thoughts on that one. I hope I'm not in denial here, and it's like, no, Trev, we just saw Michonne's last. Like, that can't be it. No, I want to see more of Michonne. It's like, Trev, you got to let it go, man. You got to let it go. It's like, I can't, man. She's so cool, and she's got the sword, and she's got, she's all muscular for a woman and everything to die, and she's like killing everything, and slow-mo kills, right? And the episode like cuts the thing's head in half, and the other one, it's like, I can't let it go, man. I gotta see at least one more episode. Come on, give me one more. I hope so. I hope they film one more episode for the back half. That's it for this review, guys. Perfect 10 out of 10. Amazing season, amazing half. Absolutely love it. Walking Dead TV series never lets me down. If you like the video, please thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite, and you can subscribe at the bottom left. That's it for this one. I'll see you guys again soon for another video. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace later, guys. See you soon.